Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a special guest, Michelle, who is pro in ChatGPT. He's gonna teach us a lot about writing prompts and give us a lot of different examples. So, welcome, Michelle. I would like you to introduce yourself.
Welcome. Thank you very much for this introduction. So I'm Michel, an IT professional working in the field for over 15 years now. More recently, I've been involved in different generative AI projects. I also been part of a team that developed and deployed a generative AI system similar to ChatGPT, but privately hosted. Part of the group with in relationship with the local school to create a course to help people adopt those technologies.
That's pretty cool. That's going to help our viewers to learn a lot about ChatGPT and they can use it every single day.
Well, I hope I will share useful information for your podcast, Sandeep.
For sure, I'm 100% sure. So let's start it. So the first question is, for those new to it, how would you describe ChatGPT in a few sentences? What's all the hype about these days?
Well, ChatGPT is actually not an AI system by itself. ChatGPT is only an interface between the user and the AI model or large language model. It's owned by a company called OpenAI. You might have heard about it recently, I think. And ChatGPT is really just an interface that helps you connect and interact with an AI model. That's basically what it is.
Okay. So how does it actually understand like what we write and generate text out of it?
Okay. So funny enough, AI doesn't really understand when you send a request or you send a prompt to the system. The way it's architected, the way the architecture works, it's basically just generating the most likely words that come after the prompt you send, and it generates a response based on his knowledge and the training process.
Okay. Yeah, so I think it's gonna be best if you can walk us through this basic process of how ChatGPT is trained this model and learns.
Yeah, definitely. I can understand it's very abstract, saying by words. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if with some image I can illustrate better this concept.
Yeah, it's gonna be better for our viewers to understand while doing the practical.
All right. So you can imagine the AI model or large language model that we call like a machine. At the beginning, the machine is pretty dumb, knows nothing, like a human when it's born, basically. Then start a process called the training process or machine learning as well. So how it works, it's like a human, basically. You show different information to the model. Could be data scraped from the website, Wikipedia, different press article, science document or scientific report, and the list is very long, books and so on. So just to give you an idea, it's trillion and trillion and billion of words that are exposed to the system. So the training process, like human, takes a long time before the machine is actually able to do anything. For a big model like OpenAI GPT-4, for example, it took many months in order for the system to be able to create those beautiful sentences you get from your prompt. When the model is trained, again, if I take the analogy of the human, it's the moment where you go to work. So we unplug the training and we give the model to the world through those chat interface called ChatGPT, Claude, or Copilot for Microsoft. The difference between human and model, and that's very important to understand, is that as soon as you unplug it from the training process, the model is not learning anymore. A human, you go to work, but keep learning what is working, right? But the model is really stuck in time. And I can illustrate this actually. This morning, I did a little test just to illustrate this. I asked ChatGPT who has been elected president of the US in 2024. And the response is, as of today, November 21st, I do not have information on the result of the election. And I did another test, so I redo it again. I even got something more dramatic. That is, the most recently elected president is Joe Biden, who won re-election in 2024. And that's where it's really important to understand that AI will always respond for you. It's not good at uh, not responding. So when he doesn't know the answer and the date of the training, we ask an information after the date of the training is finished, you're gonna get some response like this that doesn't really sounds good.
Yeah, so basically, ChatGPT don't have the latest data, right? It's
Exactly.
fetching from the data that it was trained upon.
Exactly.
So we should not rely on it for the latest news or latest updates that are happening in this world.
For an example, GPT-4 end of training is end 2023. So basically everything that happened this year is not in his head. There is some tools right now that help the system to connect to the internet and get information that can kind of patch this issue. But in general, if the AI doesn't find the information, there is a high chance that we call that hallucination that is going to create wrong answer that are not correct.
Yeah, so anybody who's using it, they should be careful about the answers. They should verify it, right?
Exactly. It's always good, especially more critical the task is, the more you really have to make sure that's what you're providing as an answer is accurate. So you can check a trusted source like I would say dictionary, but of course you can check the internet on trusted website and just correlate the information, make sure that that what you got was true. And if I just to finish on the training process, so as soon as the training ends, the system is in a mode where it provides a response to an input that the user sent. So for a simple question like what's the capital of France, the system gets this information and only guess the most likely word that comes after the sentence. In that case is Paris. Of course, that's a very basic sentence, but if you have a long text, it will generate a first word. In his head, the AI knows that it's not the end of the sentence, so he sends back the whole sentence you sent originally, plus the word he generated, and again he generates a new word, and so on, until finally the AI there is some reasoning inside that tells the AI that okay, that's the end of the sentence. Now stop and wait for another command to enter in the system. I hope that's clear. I understand it's a very complex topic explained in one slide, and we can go very deep into it.
Yeah, but it's always good when we can visualize. Always, the understanding is always better. And I want to ask you, like the image that you use, it's I like it, and I'm pretty sure that you took it from ChatGPT or somewhere. You generated it.
Yes, I did a presentation recently, and all the content was generated with AI and ChatGPT. Actually, yeah, the DALI 3 that is embedded in ChatGPT.
That's cool. So another way we can use it is to generate presentation and images, of course.
Yep, definitely.
That's cool.
I did use it to not to create the full presentation, but to refine my ideas. And in
Right.
a creative process, I feel you should always consult AI at the moment because it's so valuable to take information and to get challenged as well. Depending the way you ask the question, you can really get like someone challenging you and
Sure.
need to get deeper into your mind and your thoughts to really get the idea out of you.
Okay. So let's talk. You mentioned that you implemented a private AI and chat GPT like thing in your business, in your
Mhm.
workplace. So I want to know, like, in what ways are business currently using chat GPT? Any standout success stories you have to share?
Well, there is many use cases, of course. It can go from the basic summarize this email thread for me to I like the example of salespeople, and I think this one could be really relevant in the future. Right now, you can get a transcript from basically any online conversation you can have, even in Teams meeting or Zoom meeting. You get a full transcript of the conversation. You can use AI after to get sentiments on the conversation. You can use it to get insights, maybe on details that you didn't get, the way people articulated his fear. You can ask how, and if it's in a sales setup, for example, you can ask how should I follow up with this person after this meeting? Is there any way I could reassure him after the conversation we had? So those kind of use case, I think, become more and more useful, and you can see them in the business.
Right, right. So you mentioned about the sales team.
Mhm.
What about the marketers and creators and marketers? How can they use it?
Well, Index is really good at creative tasks, and that's what's really different from regular programs. Programs are really good at determinist. They're really again. Program are really good at deterministic.
Deterministic. That's okay. Happens.
Yeah, software program are really good at deterministic tasks. So you give an input and you get exactly the right output all the time. Generative AI is a little bit yet like human, and in the model there is some kind of randomness that is added. I don't know if you already tried it, but if you ask 5 times the same question to an AI model or to ChatGPT, you will never have the same answer. It's similar to a human. And that's
Uh,
really one of the reason why we're creative, because depending the way the question is asked, you're going to answer something different. And AI is similar in that part. So for creative tasks, ChatGPT is actually very good. Yep.
what you mentioned, it reminds me of that game, Chinese Whisper.
I don't know that.
So basically, there are like few people standing in a row.
Hmm.
Maybe like let's take 5 people. They can be more. So the sixth person comes and says a sentence to the first person, and then asks that person to tell the same thing to the person behind him. So
Mm.
each person tells the story, the same sentence to the person behind him.
Yeah.
And when the sixth person go to the last person and ask him what was the sentence, it's totally different from the one that was initially told by the sixth person.
Yeah, I used to play a game like this with my friend when I was young too.
Right. So meaning is that we are creative, so we always change, we add or subtract, or like add something creative in it and change the sentence, whatever we heard in the beginning, right?
Exactly. But the advantage of AI in that case is always in shape. Like you go and chat with ChatGPT at 2 in the morning, doing 20 hours, it will still be at his 100%. Human
Uh,
and creativity sometimes it's up and down. Sometimes you don't
right.
feel it. So when you have those moments where you feel lower, I think it's those moments for creative that you really can leverage AI, because it can really challenge you, and you can even put it in a mode where you switch. It's not you asking the question, but you ask ChatGPT, okay, now I have a subject, I want to go deeper into it. Ask me question. Now you start to ask me question and you really want to understand what I want to do and make some proposition. And here is really where it gets very interesting, where it brings you.
Or business, how we can use it in business, sales, marketing. So I want to know, like, are there some lesser known ways ChatGPT can make life easier for individuals for like daily stuff outside of work and business?
Well, I think I'm going to share something very personal that I did 2 days ago.
Okay.
Very interesting. I used it for my fitness journey.
Mm, interesting.
So fitness first, I had a first chat with the AI and I asked, what is really fitness? And fitness is not only just having a workout plan, but it's also having a specific diet or nutrition and also implement that into your daily life. So I had a first conversation. So I went first, so I went in a second time to the AI and I started a conversation where I wanted him or it, depending, to help me to build a workout routine. So I started with a prompt where I explained that I will be going in a commercial gym. I want it to be only 1 hour because my time is
Mm,
constrained. So I want to make sure it's
right.
not longer than that. At the end, I want to include 10 minutes of running or something cardio. I give some clue like this. I like also to do the shoulders the day where I do the lower part of my body and so on. So he came up with the first plan that was pretty good by default. I was already like, wow, that's impressive. The plan is quite good. But I still noticed that he didn't catch the full intention that I had because I wanted to be a more, as I want to lose a little bit of weight, I wanted
Good.
it to be a bit more cardio. So I went back and added. First, I asked if there is any way to enhance that uh, and to also ask me questions to better understand my needs. So he came up with 6 questions that already brought even more to the plan he provided. For example, my level, what was my goal, the different equipment, if I have everything or not.
Mm,
He challenged why I wanted to do the shoulder on the lower day as well. So I responded to this question, and at the end, sorry, I think it's too long here. I wanted to show that part. Maybe you can cut that part. Is not
yeah,
showing.
sure. Hmm.
Challenging that per day. Oh, did I miss something? Okay, yeah, it's because where there is a part that I think it's because I responded to the question. Yep. Should I still continue? You will manage to find a way to patch that, or
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna edit that. Don't worry.
so I'm
Just
going to.
continue. Yeah.
So I responded to the question, and based on my answer, he actually created a routine that
Good.
is more adapted to my need. And you can see here, for example, he added, instead of just running, he added a high intensity training interval because he knew that I wanted to lose weight, and those kind of exercise at the end of the training really makes you sweat a little bit more and burn calorie. Same for the amount of reps, also get higher. So I get more into cardio, you know? So I had the discussion, I refined it. And at the end, it is something really weird. I think I don't have the right chat. Yeah, there is something wrong. Excuse me, just give me a second because it will all make sense if I found the right
Yeah.
thing.
No worries.
It seems that it missed a part for some reason. Yeah, the part was missing. That's why it was all. Okay, well, you cut that.
Good.
And at the end, what I did is when I was happy with the plan he made for me, I asked to make a good comprehensive summary of this conversation so I can actually bring it into another chat. Because I
Mm,
understand that getting to my goal is not only going to work out, but it's also a wider framework to incorporate better food and mindfulness activities. So I asked ChatGPT just to make a summary of what we had so I could bring that to another expert that is not a workout plan expert, but more a nutritionist. So now
mm,
I go to the nutritionist part. And if we go at the top of the conversation, I say, I had a chat with an expert gym trainer. Below is the recap of the discussion. I paste the recapitulation and I told him that I have a 4-day workout plan. I want to focus on the nutrition part of the framework. So now I
mhm,
seem to assume the role of an expert nutritionist, blah, blah, blah. I explained the AI a little bit more about my goal in nutrition, what I like, what I don't like. And of course, I asked him to ask me question. So he asked me a bunch of questions, my age, my weight, and so on, my activity and lifestyle, what I like to eat, and so on. As you can see, 30 questions is quite a lot of
Uh,
detail. I respond to those questions, I just one by one, and boom, I
I
got,
love the way how interactive is it. It's not just like it's responding to our sec. It's also asking questions
yeah,
like your age, and it's customizing it according to your specifications.
yeah, that's thinking. It's important. People are so used to use Google, for example, and just
Uh,
say what I want in the fastest possible. But with AI, you really need to think you're speaking to an expert in a specific field and tell the AI to really get into what you want to do by asking questions. And that's where really it brings more depth into the understanding of the conversation. And then he creates, as you can see, even calculate the BMR. I don't know if you're aware of those
mhm.
different
Yes.
metrics. He creates the number of calories I should eat per day and so on. I get a full nutrition plan. Of course, I continue the discussion. I ask some questions, refine some things, and at the end, I really got a plan. And it's so detailed that at the end, it looked like it's made by an expert. You know.
Yeah. I'm wondering what will happen to the gym coaches and the nutritionist
No,
in the
but that's
future.
something I really want to point out. And it's not only them; it's me, it's you, everyone.
Uh,
The moment is potentially threatened by AI. But I really think it's an occasion for humans to rethink what we offer as services. And I don't believe a trainer will disappear because still they bring a human side of this that cannot be replaced. For example, someone you call when you're not sure about what you have to do, someone that comes with you at the gym to show you the movement. Of course, the trainer will be able to use this technology
uh,
because it will help him to create those plans faster.
right.
And actually, that part of the trainer life is probably the most boring part. Is doing a long calculation, always the same, ta 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 ta. But spending the time with the customer, following the progression, rewarding the customer when he reached the goal, that's what the trainer really like. And I think human is really going to focus more on that aspect of the relationship rather than the actual calculation and administration behind. I think that's
Right.
hopefully how it's going to
So
change.
basically, it's gonna make the life of the professional, like, for example, gym coach, easier, and they can be more efficient. They can save time as well. So it's not gonna threaten their profession, but it's gonna enhance them with
Exactly.
more tools that they have. Okay.
For example, me on my case, I already seen trainers before, but as I already have a little bit of experience in the field, I wouldn't have seen one. I would have done the plan myself, just checking on
Uh,
Google, stuff like this anyway. You know, it's just a faster way to get what I want.
right. Okay. How can ChatGPT help in content creation? Can you tell us any best practices that we can use to creating high quality and engaging content?
The key is really context, I think. One of the problem many people had, and especially in the previous version with GPT 3.5 at the beginning time of ChatGPT, it was that it was feeling very generic, the
So,
response. And that was due to two things. First, the model were less clever. And the second is also the user were just trying and testing. And like I mentioned before, we were used to communicate with a system or Google, so
uh,
short word and trying to get the shortest possible, but with the right word. AI is completely different. You need to. An analogy I like is like imagine you work with a consultant that doesn't know you, doesn't know your company, doesn't know your life, doesn't know nothing about you, and you ask him to do a task. If you don't give him enough context, if you miss key information that he needs to create the results that you're expecting, he won't be able. he will do it, but he won't be as relevant. And it's the same for artificial intelligence, exactly the same. You really need to have a solid context and explain clearly your intention, what you want to do, and how, in what environment.
Yeah, I got it. And where do you see like ChatGPT evolution in terms of evolution in the next few years?
In
And in
few
terms
years,
of specifically, I want to know like about education
Mhm.
and customer service.
Okay, those are two,
Totally different.
yeah, totally different. But I do think that it will be a lot of evolution on that side. We can already see it today, and customer service is known to be the number one target. Is job that people don't like to do, and that are very boring, very procedural, and AI is good at that. Soon you will have voice reproduction that sounds exactly like human. You won't even be able to see the difference between human
Uh,
or AI. They will respond more accurately because they will be trained on the correct data, less errors. So for that part, I think it's going to change drastically soon. As for education, there is already some experiment right now. Like I mentioned before, I don't think we will replace completely teachers because human connection in education is super important, especially for kids. I don't see kids just being
uh,
fully trained with display all their life. But who knows? Like it's changing so fast, and it's really it's up to us to decide what we're going to do to this technology.
yeah, I always envision that there's gonna be a this hologram being came out come like from a device or something, and the laptops also like in the air. We don't have to carry these big things, and they're just gonna be there, and they're gonna be talking to us. We can see them. We can change their avatars.
Yeah. Maybe it will be a mix of both because right now it's true that we lack teachers, so it's a real problem. We don't have enough teacher. Even during summer camp or summer class,
True.
for example, or in the evening, some family doesn't have the money to pay extra time for his children to get teach on a specific subject. Maybe AI will help in those cases. And to learn a
Right.
language is very can be
And also, like I just thought of it, people can have like some people are very lonely. They feel lonely, so they can have
yes,
ChatGPT as their friend. They can because it's interactive.
yeah, and for
Also,
elder people too. Actually,
true.
people who doesn't have family anymore. There is something very nice I think that they did with the AI recently. You know those calls from that people that try to get money out of older people by scamming them in some way.
Scam.
Yeah, they released an AI system that take every call from the person and engage with the person to make sure it's a legit call. So the scammer get actually scammed through those AI system. I think it's so clever.
That's cool. I like this one. That was we needed it badly actually. So that's a good one. So let's go and see like what are some advanced tricks or commands that most people like don't know about when using ChatGPT and that can help them to get like better answers.
There is a few features that has been released recently with ChatGPT. They're essentially available through the paid application, if I'm not mistaken. One of them that is available on the free version is the conversational agent. So it's when you open a chat on your phone and you start a conversation with the AI. I found myself using it a lot, and especially when I'm driving. I told you I did a presentation, a course a few weeks ago. I needed to train myself on the different subject. And while I was driving, I asked ChatGPT to help me train on one specific chapter. So I opened the conversation and I explained what I wanted to say. As you can maybe notice, my first language is not English. So I asked the AI to listen to my wording, and when the every sentence I stopped, and the AI was correcting me. So I just started the chat by telling the AI, okay, we are going to have a conversation. I'm going to say a sentence. And after each sentence, you're going to tell me if my English was well done, exposed or not. And yeah, I had a conversation like this, and it was very, very.
So you talked. So it was a voice chat.
Yes, maybe I haven't been cleared, but it's the conversation mode that you can use in ChatGPT. Right now, it's on phone, and I think they actually released it on the web version yesterday, probably just for the paid version.
That's pretty cool. I'm gonna try that, and I never tried
Yeah.
that. So for new users, what are the top 3 ChatGPT tips to make the most out of their experience?
I would say, first of all, it's redefine the intention. And I think that's even beyond using ChatGPT, is just sit with your question or with your problem in front of you. And instead of finding the answer of the problem, try to find the actual question that will lead to the answer. The cool thing with AI is that if you have the question, you will get the answer. And that's true even in a regular problem solving issue. Like really finding the question that will help you solve your problem is already like 80% of the work. So that's my first advice. AI is a co-pilot, a co-assistant, a co-creator, but it's still up to you to know what you want to achieve to the chat. So that's my first advice. Then again, context, really make sure you bring enough information to the table. If you're not sure or if you don't have the full context, ask the AI to ask you more and to make sure that before he answers your question, he knows everything about what you need to know to well respond to your request. That I think is two good things to.
Okay. So let's go to how can the user better structure their prompts to get more useful responses?
Okay. Do you want me
Because
to
I know
share?
like yeah, sure. Because I know like prompts are very important. Like you mentioned before, should know like what you want to ask. Like you should be clear in words. So yeah, for sure. If you can share your screen and show us how to better structure the prompts, that would be great.
Okay. So Sandeep, because I really like you,
Sorry.
and your podcast, I'm going to share a part of the class I did,
Thank you so much.
and you went there. So
Yeah, it was there. That's why you're here today.
yeah. So I called it the prompt anatomy methodology. It's basically 5 elements that, when you add that to a prompt, will lead to a better answer from the AI system or ChatGPT. As you can see, again, this image is generated by AI. Most of the image in my course, I used it. Another one. And the first element, this one is the most important one. It's the task. This one is really required. You can have nothing in your prompt but the task. It's really like the minimum, right?
Right.
So what's the task? Well, it's a clear and actionable instruction or a question, and you can identify it. Usually it starts with an action verb for an action, like write something, generate text, analyze a report, and so on. Or a question, how, when, what. The second one, and this one I consider it very important, and this is really where you're going to get something different, right? If you just go with the task, you're going to get generic answer, something that you can use that sounds good, but that doesn't have body, it's like, it's nothing, right? So the context is really what's going to bring the output to the next level. It's basically the background information, everything that is relevant for the AI to generate the prompt. It can be an email, it can be some data, a CSV file, a report, or just text explaining like you would explain to someone, okay, I'm living in this city and I need to do that for that person. This will be the audience, blah, 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 blah. So context is very important. The next one are optional. Why? Because depending the task, you will want to have the format. For example, if you want to have a specific way, you want the prompt to expose the answer. In that case, for example, a bullet list point, a table, another language in form of code. So it's something that will help you to make the AI create something more adapted to your needs. The fourth is the tone. So this one can be used, for example, if you want to write a speech or a presentation or something like that. So you want the AI, sorry. So you want the AI to take a certain tone, either casual, formal, enthusiastic. It could be also, for example, let's say you do a presentation in another country. English, depending the country, use different words. It's spoken differently. Let's say you have a presentation and you're going to do it in UK or Australia. You've done it in Canada. Well, you're going to ask the AI to respond or to create a presentation that will be better understood in those regions. So the AI, when it will generate the text, it will use words and way of creating the sentence that will be better understood in those regions. That's the tone and the way the message is submitted, transmitted. And the last one is the persona. So ask yourself, and specifically in case like we had before for the workout plan or training, or if you need technical response on a subject, use persona, because this is really going to narrow down the expertise and the answer that's going to come out. You are going to be sure that the AI is going to stay in this bubble of knowledge and get the most out of it. So an example, like I mentioned before, is like assume the role of a trainer and help me to solve that issue.
Right. Okay, makes sense.
So that would
So
be
it
the
just
framework. Do you want to see it as an example?
yes,
Like this?
that would be great.
So that was actually a prompt that I used during the creation of this training. And well, let's play the game together.
Sure.
Where we'll see if you learned well during my class.
Yeah.
So where is the task in this prompt?
Basically, content flow, reorganize the course structure below. So this one, content course is the task. So basically, reorganization is the
Is the keyword
course structure,
exactly?
is the task. Yeah.
Yeah, is the action word that is used to really tell the AI, okay, that's what I want to do.
Right.
And by the way, I gave the different element in orders, but you can mix them in any sense you want.
Right.
So which one will be the context in this example?
Content of the course.
Exactly. Of course, I didn't paste the full content of the course for the sake of this example, but in the real example, I did paste all my content that I had in a doc file on the side.
Right.
Then the format.
Course in bullet pointed format.
Yes.
That's the
indicator. And the tone.
Tone should be educational yet captivating.
Yeah, this one was easy too.
This one was clear.
And finally, the persona, that is the last
Experienced educational consultant. Right.
Exactly. Well, good job. Well, I'm proud of you.
Thanks. Yeah, I know this particular example. So when I was learning this prompt, I didn't learn like this. Like, your examples are really good. But one thing I learned while I was learning the prompts is that just think about ChatGPT as a dumb. It's dumb is like a bad word, but like it's like, but it will organize everything. You're just like, the better word is assistant, a new assistant that's like fresher assistant that knows nothing, but is willing to do the hard work for you and collect all the data.
Exactly.
So just give the work, like, but you need to be exact in the question, like you mentioned. you should be exact what you are looking for, and it will search everything and get the data for you, but you need to be specific.
Yeah,
But I love the way you explained where we should use the context, where we should use the persona. So that's the one of the best examples I've seen.
it's true that nowadays the AI system got smarter and smarter. And it's funny because 2 years ago when I started my first class, I was referring of ChatGPT as a 6-year-old kid really eager
Yes.
to help you.
Right.
And then he become a student and now it's a consultant. So you can see really how no, it's true. It's really now you right away you are in front of an expert. It's not like a dumb person in front of you. And it's true
Mm,
that even if you don't come with all those things from the
mm,
beginning, there's a high chance that through the conversation is going to get those information out of you. But I think it's
right.
still a good practice to start with an initial prompt because there is another fact is that a single chat windows has a limit. And if you discuss too much during a single chat, you will actually lose what was at the beginning of the conversation. And that can create hallucination. So you really want to optimize at the beginning, really
Mm.
give the direction the fastest you can. So that's just optimization basically.
Right, 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 right. Okay, that's good to know. Okay. So a lot of people are scared of AI. They are saying like they can, take our data and there's not gonna be any privacy or anything like that. So it's a big topic lately. What
Yeah.
are some ethical considerations to keep in mind when using ChatGPT?
Well, in terms of security, you mean?
Yeah.
In and privacy, sorry. In terms of privacy, I would highly recommend to use the paid version for some reason, because when you don't use the paid version, all your conversation are potentially used for training purpose. And as you remember, the training is really your data are potentially used to train a new model. So the leak, if you tell some personal information about yourself in a chat, it's not going to happen right away. But probably the next iteration of the model are going potentially to have your information within it. So it's at risk. Um, the first scary part of the privacy regarding ChatGPT. The second one, even if they say that they are not profiling, you probably heard about profiling. It's like company like Google were doing it. When you log in to Google with your Gmail account, they record the different Google search command you did, so they kind of
Mm.
know that okay, you like football, you like those kind of book, you like to
Right.
go to the cinema, so they create a profile out of you. Believe me, in ChatGPT, if someone get all the information I talked inside and just summarize it, the profile is pretty accurate, I'm pretty sure. So at this moment, they say they're not profiling and they keep the information private, especially when you pay the price, right? When you pay the subscription.
Right.
But you never know. Like if they
You
get
never know.
hacked, for example, like if there is a hack, your data can be leaked and really can be massive. Like it's really
Yeah.
going deep into your thoughts what you write in the prompt.
Not even hacked, but also I've seen some companies, big companies, even when they say your data is not tracked or it's not stored, but
Gold,
they
whether
still use it. For example, I've seen like Uber, they
yeah,
used to say like it's everything is private and we're not gonna use your data, but they when you download the app, they used, I don't know they do it now anymore or not, but they used to track where you go, where are you right now, your location, and and
they
it
know how to use the
manipulate. Yeah.
contracts, and there is some gray zone where okay, we don't really sell the data but we used it
Yeah.
for educational purpose. That is, so there is always way to go between line, and of course there is a risk, definitely. So if you are about to create a new company and you have a crazy idea that you really don't want to leak in the world, maybe not use ChatGPT.
Right, right, right.
Can be very useful, you know.
So the last question of the podcast, I want to know about the ethics as well. Like I asked you, so it affects environment as well, right? Why
Yes.
when we use ChatGPT indirectly. So can you put some light on that?
So yes, and that's very concerning, especially with everything that's happening right now in our environment. As you might know, every new technology, the first thing they have in mind, or we have in mind, is really to make it work the best possible to get crazy results. But eco-responsibility is not the priority when developing a new tool. This one specifically uses a lot of resource in data
Correct.
centers, and a recent study, for example, from the Washington Post showed that to generate one prompt, one response to an email, for example, generate an email with ChatGPT, so 100 words created by ChatGPT, use approximately half a liter of water to cool down the server that's going to generate your response. So it's not water used to create electricity. Electricity is another part of it, right? It's just the water that is needed to put on top of the server that's transformed into vapor. So imagine the amount of prompts that are done every day, and it's just going to get more and more crazy, you know? So there is definitely a concern. I know that there is company that develop technology right now. The world is also evolving in a sense where right now we have one huge, massive model that is very expensive to run and to get answers for. But the future tends to, instead of having just one big model, you'll probably have a small model in the front called a router that analyze the question and then will redirect your request to a very small model trained specifically to respond to those kinds of questions. And in this case, this model will use barely nothing. Like it will be a millions of tiny little model that are very specialized to a specific task. But we're not there yet. But it's probably what's going to happen soon in this world.
Yeah, in the beginning, it's always that they do whatever they have, then they eventually evolve and make it better and more efficient for sure. But till
Exactly.
then, I think we need to be mindful while using.
Exactly. And one of the thing I like to share is use AI for tasks that you hate to do. If you're a good salesperson and you like to do follow-up emails, you're good at it, you write them fast and for you it's no pain, don't use AI to do it. Like if you're good at writing poem, don't use AI to do it. Use it for things that you don't like to do or things that really bring a value. So things that is painful and long for you to do. That's the best use case.
All right, my friend, this was the end of the podcast. I'm gonna thank you again for coming and sharing your deep knowledge with all the viewers. And thanks to you.
Well, thanks to you, Sandeep. It was very nice to have this conversation with you tonight.
Likewise, likewise. I'm sure everybody's gonna learn a lot of new things from this podcast, and they're gonna apply it, and they're gonna have better uh, life after that because they can use it daily, and they can use it at work, they can use it at uh, for health, they can use it for creating presentations, so it will be for sure helpful.
Yes, I'm definitely sure.
Yeah, thanks. I'm just gonna stop it.